Hi, I'm Corbin. This is my explanation of the fantasy game design. So, just the UML and flowchart, not the actual code yet. So, starting with the UML diagram, I have it right here in my drive. Let me try to get to a nice zoom. Okay, that's great. So we have two objects for one for the store, one for the arena. And then in the store has attributes of the name, but also has vectors of the item objects and the player objects, which is really cool. So it uses composition to store all the items that are in the store into the store uh, class. So that way you can access all of them, you can buy them, you can get the price, all of that. And then it also allows players to be stored in there. So you can save players from there. You can have players be in the store instead of in the arena. And in that same sense, I also use composition to store a player vector in the arena, same as the store. So players can be stored in there. They can I have methods that show the alive players, show the dead players, add players to the arena, uh, shows the players with most kills using the stats, most health. Then you can save and load players in there too. And then you also fight between players using the attack method in the player, which I haven't described yet. But those are the two big parent classes, I would say. Well, not parent classes, but the two big main classes. And then the player class is also really big. Has names, coins, health, and it also has a vector of items in its inventory. So all the items a player buys from the store are in its own vector in the player class too. So items go in using composition go into the store class and the player class. So that's pretty cool. And then it also has an object of the stats. So a little stat sheet containing how much kills the player has and whether the player is alive or dead. And that has getters and setter methods for all the attributes, attack methods, methods to set weapons using the items to add items to die or to add a kill if they kill. And then with the items, the item is a parent class of the weapon and health potion. So those are both types of items. The item has a virtual class in there called show info. So you can't actually initialize an item, but you can initialize weapons and health portions. And out of weapons, uh, that's also a parent class. Now this is all using inheritance of sword and bow. So different type of weapons. They both have similar attributes such as damage and how long those weapons are durable to keep attacking. And all the items, whether it be a health portion or a sword object, they all have universal characteristics such as price, name, and they're all going to be stored in an items vector in the store. So that's pretty cool. And that is the UML diagram with our classes of inheritance, composition, and abstraction. There. You go to the game flow. So for the flow chart, I use a simple game example of just two players. The user just controls one. So initializes the stats for each stat objects to go to each player, the arena, the store, all like sword, bow, health portion items to go into the store. And then since I'm just having the user control player one, I just put player suit in the arena with a sword. Give the user the opportunity to send their player one, to the store if they want to. Gives the opportunity to buy all the items, include the prices. If they do, adds item. If not, or if they don't want to go to the store, if they don't want to buy something, if they already bought something, it gives them the option to then go to the arena. If they go to the arena, since there's only two players, they're going to fight the other player. And if they fight the other player, what could happen is one of them's health could be 0 and the other one could not be. So, meaning one player kill the other. If that happens, the player that got killed dies. The player that killed him gets an add kill, and you save both the players because there's only one more alive player. So that would just be it. And then once that happens, or if the player says, "No, I don't want to go to the arena. I'm going to be boring today," it shows you live players and dead players in the arena. Maybe there's none if the player never went. Maybe there is, and then just ends the program. But basically, it shows a flow chart being we have a lot of methods, we have a lot of classes that go into each other. We're going to let the user choose what to do with C out, C in input, and then we'll have the user help make the game decisions from there. But that's just one example. Could go many ways in that main method with the flowchart. That's just the example I used. Anyway, that's my explanation of the design of the fantasy game. Somewhat complex design, but nothing too crazy. Obviously, for a real solid selling video game, probably be a lot more complex, but definitely not beginner level with the UML and flowchart. But yeah, using aggregation, inheritance, composition, all that good stuff. All right. Thank you for watching. That was my explanation.